Okay, now that we have our first logo done, we're going to try our second one. We're going to make this little car here by using some more of the Boolean features and the shape builder tools. So to start off this shape, we're going to go back to our ellipse tool, which is familiar now. And this time we don't need to hold down to make a perfect circle. We want to make more of an oval shape. We're going to change it to purple. So again, over here in our docking area, you'll see the options for fill. Make sure fill is selected, flat color, and then go ahead and pick a nice shade of purple to fill your ellipse. Now we're going to go up to our rectangle tool. So you'll select the rectangle tool, and we're going to just make a rectangle that goes across the middle of the oval. It doesn't matter how far over it goes to the left or the right or below, just as long as it kind of cuts across the center of the oval. And we're going to cut out these two shapes to make this kind of dome shape of the car here. So I'll go to my selector tool, select both shapes, and I'm going to go to the path menu, and this time I'm going to select difference. Cuts that rectangle out and leaves us with this dome shape for the car. So here's the dome shape, and now we need to add this little kind of hatchback area. So we're going to now use a tool that we haven't used before. We're going to select our rectangle tool and make a rectangle. Don't worry too much about the shape of your rectangle. We're going to change it quite a bit. So in this case, we want to take this rectangle and we're going to change it pretty dramatically. We're going to round the corners and make it asymmetrical, which we haven't done before. In order to do this, we want to change this shape into a path. So we're going to go back to our path menu again, and we're going to tell it to change the object to a path. Now, underneath the selector tool is a tool called the node tool. It's kind of a direct selection tool, and it changes the path into these handles. I'm going to select just this upper left handle, and I'm going to drag it a little bit to the right. So you notice that nothing else on my rectangle is changing, just this one point, because now it's not a rectangle, it's just a path, so it will let me change it even more. So I have this asymmetrical shape now, and now I want to round the corners. So to do that, up here on my tool command bar, there's this little shape that looks like a corner with these two dots. And if you hover over it, it will say Add Corners LPE, which stands for Live Path Effect. So if I click that, now you'll see these little circles that go next to each handle on the path. If I drag this one and drag it over, you'll see this tiny blue line, and the further I go, the more of a curve that I get. So I'm going to just kind of pick a slight curve and let go of the mouse to unselect it, and now I have a curved edge to this rectangle. I want to do the same thing to the back of this rectangle, so I'm going to curve it down to about here, and now I have this kind of hatchback shape. I'm going to drag this on top of the half circle that we created before. And if yours is too big, you can always change the size of your hatchback, line it up where you want it on the car body, and there we go. But again, we still have two separate shapes, so to combine them together, I'm going to select them both. Again, make sure now we're back to the selector tool, not the node tool. Select them both, go to Path, Union, and now we've combined those shapes together. So now we want to carve out these wheel holes in the car body, and so we'll go back to our ellipse tool that is familiar to us by now. Go on to the body and hold down your Control key to create a perfect circle, and create a circle that's about the size of the wheel that you would want. You can line that up on the car. Go to your duplicate tool to duplicate that circle. Drag it over towards the back of the car. And if you have your snapping tools on, you can kind of see it will line them up nicely for you. And now we have kind of the outline of the car with the wheel shapes on the bottom, but I don't just want the wheel shapes. I want to actually create this gap between the wheel and the body of the car. So this is going to be a complex task that we have it to do. So if we have the selector tool, drag across all three shapes. In this case, we are going to go back to the path tool and do, sorry, lost my place here. We are going to do exclusion this time to exclude the front shapes from the back. Unfortunately, that's only getting rid of the top halves of the circle because that's what's overlapping the car shape in the back. So in order to get rid of the other parts of the circles, we're going to have to go to Path, Break Apart, and now it's breaking that one shape into three separate pieces where the wheel halves are their own piece. So I'm going to select this one wheel half, hit delete to get rid of that shape, select the other half, delete to get rid of that one, and now I have the kind of open space where I can put my wheels back. I'm going to go over to the ellipse tool and hold down Control key, make a perfect circle, make a wheel the size that you like, and you can kind of drag it up into the space. Now this is a time where the snapping tools are not our friends because it's trying to line them up, doesn't exactly know how far we want them away. So you can use the arrow buttons on your keyboard to get the wheels where you want them to be, or you could turn the snapping tool off. When you have it where you want it, then you choose the duplicate tool again to duplicate that wheel, slide it over to where you want it, and again the arrow keys on your keyboard might be your friend here. Alright, there we go. And voila, now we have a car. Okay. My car is now in three pieces though. We have the body of the car and the two wheels. So I want to combine them all together by selecting them all. Go to Path, Union, and I have one car that can be moved and resized easily. Let's just move that up here with the rocket.